today's Crystal Brigade meeting, we're going to be talking about all kinds of different things. We're going to be talking about the Tetragrammaton, which is the entire matrix of our world, and how everything has this base crystalline structure that incorporates throughout its form. And the Tetragrammaton is actually, it holds and encompasses all other geometries known to man. And I'll be doing my PowerPoint presentation isn't quite complete yet, but I do have some images that I've been compiling online to make a really good video based on this, because there's a lot of information. And we've got some more people who are going to be coming. It's not quite 7 o'clock, but I did want to just start gathering whatever information starts coming off the top, because I don't want to miss a beat in this. This is becoming very powerful information and knowledge regarding the existence that's all around us. And just to put a little footnote in here, the weather has been ridiculously hot, ridiculously dry. I went out, it was about 3 o'clock today, and I started working with the crystal and the sky, the clouds, and working with the earth. And I'm starting to get how Native Americans make it rain. It's all using your imagination. So when you get your crystal, let me grab my crystal real quick. Because we're working with this tetrahedron of pyramids, basically, and I'm going ahead and screen share. Okay. All right, this is the actual construct of our world. Absolutely everything in the known existence of our reality, which is holographic, is based in this form. This is what they call the matrix. And this matrix contains every other sacred geometry within its matrix. But the crystals inside of them, they start to align with this matrix. When you give this crystal a squeeze, after you've discharged it of its memory and recharged it, because you always want to do that, just because it's going to hold every memory once it's connected to you. You just dispel that, charge it with love or healing or whatever it is your intention is, and then give it a little squeeze. It is going to start to restructure the outer matrix outside of it. And I mean, this is blowing me away. I'm over the moon with all of this information that I've been coming across, because I'm like, this is starting to make too much sense now. And so when you're squeezing this and your scalar waves are going into the crystal is amplifying your thought forms, and it is radiating outwards that affects this grid pattern that is in absolutely everything. And so when Native Americans dance around in a circle, usually clockwise to bring in energy, they are mimicking the animals or the rain or the air or whatever it is. They're using their imagination, because this is what is going to react with this grid. This is why, whatever's been happening out here in the world, the powers that be don't want us to use our imagination. Let's just play from the start. I'm just going to go over this real quick. The Crystalline Matrix and you, that's my title screen. And it's basically the entire structure of our world is based on a crystalline grid called the Tetragrammaton. And the Tetragrammaton is absolutely connected to everything. It is the fabric of everything. And we've heard this before, that we are all one, but this is going to explain it in scientific terms. And that's what I like about it, is because it's, we've been missing connecting points. And this is what the Tetragrammaton looks like. And as you can see, all of the patterns of the flower of life and the, Vesica Pisces, every other sacred geometrical shape is in this form. It is absolutely imperative that we comprehend this, because this is powerful. This means that we are absolutely creating everything in our reality. Now, obviously in India, they've known about this for a long time, and they've still held this knowledge sacred. This is called the Sri Yantra, and they meditate on this symbol. Now, this symbol is a sigil, and sigils work with not only the subconscious mind, but they react with the matrix. This is why radionics works. If you know anything about radionics, what they've done is they can create holographic, on a holographic sticker or anything like that, a certain pattern of sacred geometry or words or anything like that. That sacred geometry or pattern is going to be reacting with the matrix all around us. This is why magic, or, you know, when they're doing different symbols drawn on the floor and all of these other things, they actually use this as protection, or they're bringing in energy, or they're summoning demons, or whatever it is. These overlays of just drawings are not just working with our mind, but it is working with the fields all around us. So it's going to be important for us to comprehend this when we're just out here in the world and look at the chaos that we are swimming in now, you know, with everything that's the wordplay, you know, the spelling, there's symbols and logos and colors, and our world is just utterly chaotic with the way we live in a frequency soup of just, it's just erratic energy. And now we can start to truly think about things as feng shui, you know, where people are saying feng shui, simplify your life, put things in certain energy directions, you know, like rearrange your furniture. I mean, this whole this whole construct is really the foundation of absolutely everything. These are just a few examples of the Sri Yantras that they talk about in India. You know, they meditate with these symbols. And I don't know every aspect of what each shape and form means, but the subconscious mind looks at this and knows that this is based on the Tetragrammaton, but then there's also other elements in here that it reacts with. So this is something that I came across online, and let me see if I can do, yeah, put that bar somewhere else. That moment when all of the dots connect. So this is the atom. We have the atom at the top, upper left. And then Vesica Pisces is the one below. And then as we keep going, you know, the cells of all creatures, animals, plants, minerals, they start to propagate and grow. They become the Metatron cube, they become the flower of life, they just start emulating the same patterns in order to be in existence. So this is the formulation of everything.
Wow.
Yes. And here we go back to Tetragrammaton with all the sacred geometries. As you can see, it has flower of life pattern. They're all pyramidal in their shapes and forms. So with the crystals, you can see the top. It always has a particular angle. And it also has the same angles as the Great Pyramid. Same angle as the pyramid is about 52 degrees, which means that the Great Pyramid is one big scalar form, and it is harnessing energy. We already know this, but what was it used for? I believe it was a power station. And in my belief, on my opinion, I have not found out any other information on this, that the king's chamber and the sarcophagus, everything is revolved around death, right? Because the death cult wants us to believe that. I believe that the Ark of the Covenant belongs in the king's chamber. And Ark is not ARK, it's ARC. Arc is energy. Arc is electricity. Let's go into Kabbalah. You guys know about Jewish mysticism, right?
Yeah.
Okay, I've got some images in here. Tree of Life, Sephiroth, the Sephiroth. This is basically what they teach in Jewish mysticism. They call it mysticism because it's not for everybody. You know, it's not for everybody to have the knowledge of self, but at the same time, this is the knowledge that needs to return to the world. A lot of this is about how our physical body manifests from the ethereal body, which is spirit. And if you dive into Kabbalah, you will find all kinds of interesting things. So there are correlating aspects to our body that actually correlate to the heavens above us, which are the constellations. And the constellations give off a particular frequency when we are born, which will resonate with particular body parts inside our body, which means we are born of the stars, guys, like literally born of the stars. We came from the stars, from the electricity that was in that moment, that arrangement of celestial patterns that was over your head the moment that you were conceived and brought into the world and born, what they call born, that actually imprinted your personality into your physical body to have a physical experience. And I know I'm kind of getting off of the crystal thing, but I just feel compelled to kind of put some of this stuff together so that we can also go back. So now look at this tree of life pattern. And then let me show you what Marcel Vogel figured out here with this.
Tree of life pattern.
Look at this. You see that tree of life? That's the sacred tree of the Sephiroth. And this is what they teach in Jewish Kabbalistic practices, Jewish mysticism and all of that. Now, as you can see in the uppermost part of this, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger if I can bring it out. The uppermost part is where our personality radiates down from the spirit realm into the physical plane. As it goes down, these different Sephiroth, it comes down and then it grounds itself on the earth down below. But all of these different Sephiroth, this is what they call these little round circles, are the Sephiroth. This is aspects of your personality. And the stars in the heavens, you know, in the constellations when you're born, are affecting all of these different aspects and parts of your body.
Wow.
And it is a wealth of knowledge that we have to try to learn in this world, because they have not been teaching us any of this. They don't teach us selfhood. They teach us that the power exists somewhere out there, but it is not you.
Yep.
And in absolute truth, we are the gods of this world, and we've been given dominion over this world. And it says it in the Bible. It says man has dominion over the land, the air, and the water. And this is what Lena teaches about the law. That's what law is: land, air, and water. That's the sacred tree of the Sephiroth. And this is what they teach in Jewish Kabbalistic practices, Jewish mysticism and all of that. Now, as you can see in the uppermost part of this, I'm going to make this a little bit bigger if I can bring it out. The uppermost part is where our personality radiates down from the spirit realm into the physical plane. As it goes down, these different Sephiroth, it comes down and then it grounds itself on the earth down below. But all of these different Sephiroth, this is what they call these little round circles, are the Sephiroth. This is aspects of your personality. And these stars in the heavens, in the constellations when you're born, are affecting all of these different aspects and parts of your body.
Wow.
And it is a wealth of knowledge that we have to try to return in this world, because they have not been teaching us any of this. They don't teach us selfhood. They teach us that the power exists somewhere out there, but it is not you.
Yep.
And in absolute truth, we are the gods of this world, and we've been given dominion over this world. And it says it in the Bible. It says man has dominion over the land, the air, and the water. And this is what Lena teaches about the law. That's what law is: land, air, and water. This is cut. This is what Marcel Vogel learned and he saw this in like a vision, during a meditation or a dream. He saw that he should cut the crystals to this shape, which is the tree of life. And this shape, once you start narrowing it down, like if you whittled down the female end, which is the shorter end, and you elongated the front end, the male end, the tip, I believe, you're going to make this a more powerful tool.
Where do you get these?
You can get Vogel crystals online, but they start at about $850. And there's only a couple of people left that are cutting them to Marcel's specifications, which were to cut the crystals with love and with classical music and, a lot of care, basically. Because when you cut the crystal, you are actually changing the matrix of it. And, these things, this is a wand, basically. We're getting back into what Atlantis was truly about when it was in its greatest day. And I believe that Tartaria is proving that Atlantis was absolutely everywhere. And what we think is, or is known as Greco-Roman architecture, was part of Atlantis. Because that's starting to come out now too, is that Atlantis was only about, 2,000 years ago when it fell. And you got to do a lot of digging to find out what people are actually discovering about all of this. So that's this is where we're going, guys. This is a scalar. Any kind of angle like this, where it's pyramidal in its form, is a scalar wave. And we've seen satellite dishes out here that are shaped like this, conical shape or pyramidal shape. And it has a lot to do with our reality, because our reality is this. It's this form. Anyway, I'm going to stop the screen share. So what I have been doing, and I don't know how much you guys know about kombucha and other things. I've been out here not only practicing with the crystal, like today I went outside and discharged the crystal, charged it with love, and then I was doing, I'm going to just plug in my computer. I was making sweeping patterns clockwise and imagining the clouds coming together, because you are magnetic and electric. Each one of us are. And this is what I'm saying and expressing, that we are the gods of this world. We need to return to this way of thinking, because we have the air, earth, fire, water, ether inside of us. It is the 5-pointed pentacle that they draw from the Tetragrammaton. Looks like a 5-pointed star, but that is all the elements that we have inside of us, and we react with that outside of us. And when I was spinning the crystal over my head, the wind started picking up, and I would spin it around towards the ground while I'm imagining the clouds coming together. I'm using my imagination to magnetically pull in the clouds, and having the crystal only amplifies the thought. The crystal works and holds your imagination, your thought patterns. And Marcel Vogel got to use this camera called the Delaware camera. And it was a thought photography camera. You could imagine a picture in your head, and then the liquid silica that was on the plate would then take a photo of that imagination picture. And
Wow.
you could print it out. This is interesting stuff, but it's fascinating and unbelievable. And this is how people have been able to predict the future, is with this technology. And they're trying to help us. These other extraterrestrials, they're extra because they're on other parts of our world in lands that we have not been told about. They are over the Arctic Circle ice wall, and they have been coming here with their UFOs to try to help us and to help us learn from the past. But we have to stop fighting each other. So continuing, we can go out here and affect the fields, this crystalline grid, which is the Tetragrammaton that is all around us. We can go and use our crystals and play, because we're supposed to be childlike in our nature of actually trying to achieve these different things. You know, let's see what we can do with the elemental forces within ourselves and outside of ourselves, and how we can make it rain when we need the rain to come. Native Americans do this. They already know this stuff. They may not know about the Tetragrammaton. They put things in terms of, you know, the gods of this, the water, air, fire. They know the nature spirits, and they are absolutely out here, whether it's just the frequencies of them or otherwise in other dimensions. They exist. And when I was spinning around in a circle, that came to my mind, that I was doing exactly what the Native Americans do. When they tap their feet, you know, in a rhythmic pattern, it's the rain. Think about how the rain is like coming down and touching the earth, you know, and then if they're going in a clockwise pattern, that's bringing it in. If they're going counterclockwise, that's pushing out energy, which is not what you want to do all the time. You want to bring goodness in. You want to bring love in. Yeah, I mean, this is foundational stuff that we need to start imparting on the world, not only in our daily practice with ourselves and what we can do in our own environment, because we came here to spread the knowledge and to share it and disseminate it freely. That's going to get us out of this confined prison that we've been in for so long. If we just share everything freely. People still haven't gotten that yet. We need free energy to come to us, especially now where we're in this area of crisis with the fuel and what they're doing. They're trying to dry us up with their weapons. We can far surpass their weapons. Our minds are the matrix. And it's just, what can your imagination come up with? But what I've got is I've been, and I've had these things for a while, but I was like, you know what, this is like, why aren't we doing this every day? So I have a container that has a crystal. Now this crystal is polished and cut, but it still has, as you can see, the natural inclusions in it. What does this do? Well, Marcel Vogel talked about that in some of his videos, where he said they did experiments with spiraling a tube around a crystal that was charged with love. They poured imperfect wine. Like they did, he said over the years, they did 400,000 gallons of wine around this, because they just, I mean, I'm sure they were just doing it all the time just to see what kind of different results they could do in the lab and outside the lab. They had a tube around this crystal, and there's a photo, and I can add that to another presentation. I'd have to go dig for it right now. There's a photo where he set up a little box that held a crystal that was probably 9 inches high or so. And it has 10 spirals around it, clockwise. Again, very important. They just had a funnel at the top. They poured the wine through the tube. It spiraled around the crystal, came out the other side. They collected it and tasted it, and it was like a vintage wine.
Wow.
It restructured all of the tetrahedrons inside the wine itself. This is how powerful we can restructure water right now. We can purify water right now. You know, they don't want us to believe that. They don't want us to think that we have this power. Isn't that a godlike power? That's a God-given gift.
Yeah.
And it's really just about us. And then because the crystal retains the memories of everything you do, all of your thought patterns and all your images, everything goes right in here and stays. And it does not get removed until you get it out with your intention and your breath. That means when you do anything, like having, you know, your crystal inside the water, it's going to amplify the charge of your water. And then I bought this nifty little device. There was a one of those opportunities where you can get in on the ground floor and help a business come alive. Well, I found that, you know, everything happens for a reason. I found this company called Mayu, and I put the crystal in the middle, but this thing spins the water and it spins it in a clockwise motion, and it will create a little vortex.
Oh, look, see, should I look? That's what that crystal's doing.
Well, this is the vortex from the base. It has a magnetic ring or something that's on the inside of the little, it's like
Oh, okay.
it's like a porcelain base,
Yeah.
but it has a little spinner on the base that is metal. It has a plastic covering, but it's metal, which, you know, we're going to eventually get away from that. Maybe eventually they'll come up with something bamboo, but it creates the little vortex in a clockwise. I was pleasantly surprised when it was a clockwise motion continually. And all I did was say, you know what? I'm going to take this little crystal, which is just a, you know, a crystal that I put on a real copper wire. There's fake copper wire out there, y'all. Y'all want to be careful of that. But this is just, you know, I just wrapped it around, wound it up, and then made a little hanger on the end. And I just dangle it in there. Usually I'll have this decanter filled up, and that water will spin around that. And I make sure that the crystal is charged with love before I use it. And then it does its job, and it purifies the water without me having to worry about it too much. This is the wave of the future, y'all. And it's here, and it's now, and it's coming like, like a freight train. This crystal in the container, you can actually disassemble this, like take this off. And so I wanted to experiment because I was a little concerned. I was like, this is already polished and perfect. It may not hold a charge. But I took it out, tested it. I discharged its memory, recharged it again, and my finger got sticky. So I said, okay, the matrix is still inside this thing, and that matters. Because, you know, usually polished and perfect means that they've just distorted everything that the crystal is about, and it can't really be used in that fashion. But that one is good. And so then there was a type of kombucha called GT's Kombucha that came out. They came out with an anniversary bottle with the flower of life. Now my label, I'm trying to get the paper off now because I've had this bottle for about a year or so, and I just clean it and reuse it. But it has the flower of life pattern on it. And you can do this yourself, is draw these sacred geometry patterns on a sticky note or something and stick it on your bottle. That's what radionics is about. Radionics is about working with the ether with different forms like 2D, or they also have different equipment that has Tesla coils on the inside, and they have little knobs that you can use that works with your mind, and it can actually heal people. And it's the weirdest thing. Like I don't have one of those actual devices, but they're charging like $1,400 for certain ones, and I think you can get some a little bit less. but you literally don't touch anyone or do anything. You just have these little knobs and you do this stuff and you project images and well-being to someone and it heals them. But we
Wow.
don't need that. We have us. We have the ability with our thoughts and scalar waves to project and to heal people. And Janet, you can explain your story, share your story of what we just did with you the other day.
Sure. We had a group of 5 ladies, and we went out to a field and we put rocks in a circle, and all 5 of us ladies got into the circle, and we, Ellen taught us how to breathe, how to do it. And then they actually got together. They all hugged me because I needed some healing. I needed some healing really bad. Ellen can attest to that. And just they prayed. They prayed. They I don't know what they did, actually. I really don't. But I know that I screamed like from the bottom of my gut. I screamed really loud. And actually what they were trying to heal actually was healed, because I went on vacation a week later and I was with my friend at an Airbnb and we were watching a show, and I usually sit with my legs crossed, but because of my right leg I couldn't do that. And I sat in a chair and I wasn't paying attention. I just sat in a chair and I looked down and my right leg was actually bent. I was sitting on my right leg and I looked at my friend Bex and I said, Bex, look at this, because she knew that I couldn't bend my right leg.
In the past, in the past, in the past, say in the past.
In the past.
Thank
In
you.
the past. Yeah. I couldn't bend my right leg in the past.
There you go.
Okay. And now I can. So
Good job.
yeah, it was wonderful. It really was. And she's amazing. Helen's amazing.
No, I think it's really just about knowledge and bringing this knowledge of healing and helping back into the collective consciousness. It's us. We are the crystallines. We work with the grid. We're the tetrahedrons. We're everything, because we can actually think about these things and then act with them. The tools is the knowledge. It's not the implements. It's us sharing the knowledge that we can go out here. We don't need certifications. We don't need, all these documents that say we can do something. That's the falsehood of the reality that's going away. And we have to be the ones that present the new, it's not new information, but represent this information to the collective to try to achieve greatness once more, because that's what we're striving for. We got a whole entire existence to heal. And now, it's fun. I like using the crystal because, like Marcel Vogel found out, it amplifies your thoughts. So it's just a little it's like going out here with a bullhorn and going, I'm gonna heal you now. It's really just blasting it out. And I've always been drawn to them. And I think the reason is because I want to put that message out to the world about the importance of Marcel Vogel's work, and then what this existence is really about. And, learning the practices of Kabbalah and Hermetics and yoga and pranayama, breathing, doing all these different things, bringing it back into one. Let's pull it back, because we are magnetic. We are magnetic and electric. And we can send these waveforms outwards and affect things that are out here. Nature reacts to us. Why is it dying? Because we're not loving it. Because we've been taught to live in a cube and then ignore nature outside. Don't go heal the forest. Don't go heal the nature. Drive in your car on your fake stone road. you know, it's an abomination what we're doing, the destruction, and we're allowing it to happen because we buy from these corporations,
Well,
the
what,
corporations.
well, what can we do right now to start healing right this minute?
What you can do, and we can all do.
I like Roxy.
Yeah, and Roxy's awesome. She does QHHT too. She just took the class not too long ago.
Really? I
Yeah.
thought it was Ellen.
Yeah. So even in this moment, we can all sit here and meditate on one thing. Once we all focus on one thing, which is healing the world, changing the world, you know, whatever it is you got, y'all have a suggestion. you know.
What about seeing the world like the Star Trek, where we've already got peace on Earth, we're past the money, you know, you're not having to use money anymore, and we're able to join in with the Galactic Federation.
Oh, that's cool. I always like,
Yeah, Andrew says, yeah, you should start by loving yourself, of course. Yes.
may I ask a question?
Sure.
Who in this group had a problem with crystals before? Did any, or were you always drawn to crystals?
I know I was, but
Right. No, and I'm asking it for a reason. But I don't know if any of you were like me, but when I met Ellen, I told her that I couldn't feel crystals. I had crystals, but I just couldn't feel them. So I never worked with them. I had them in my room and on my altar, but that's all. So she pulled out some crystals and she told me run my hand over it. And then she, there was a lot of crystals. So she, you know, separated some of the crystals. Anyway, just to make a long story short, my crystal actually shocked me. And that was the very first time I ever felt a crystal, ever. And I've had it ever since. And I'm actually, I used a crystal on my mom the other night, you know, and I'm saying to myself, well, I told Mom, I said, I'm not like Ellen, so I don't know if this is going to work, but I'm trying to practice. She goes, no, go ahead, practice. So about 15, I did it. And then about 15, 20 minutes later, I went into the room to get her a cup of coffee and she said that it worked. I was so excited. I was so excited, you know? So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
no worries. I mean, we need to hear personal accounts of, and all the different experiences that we have, because I sleep with a crystal underneath my pillow.
Now, why I heard of that before, so why is that so?
It amplifies when, again, squeezing the crystal is piezoelectric, it amplifies. But having it, I put it inside the pillowcase and then underneath the pillow so that it's not poking me in the night. But it will amplify dreams and things.
Okay.
What kind of stuff?
What's that?
What kind of stuff's happened with you doing that?
Yeah, well, the first time I did it, I used I have an amethyst crystal that's really large. That thing, it kept me up all night. I was like, wow, there's the energy of it and lucid dreams and things. So because the purple is the highest frequency color. We got to start thinking about all of these other aspects of our world. The color, apparently they did color experiments of shining different colored lights through a quartz crystal, and they would come up with different effects. Green is the heart chakra.
Right.
But, out here in the world, they make hearts red. Because that is the root chakra, which is lust.
Right.
Which is primal, which is fear, and, all the primal based feelings and emotions that we have.
It doesn't matter how big the crystal is, or
no, not at all. It does not matter.
Because I went to North Carolina to the reservation, right? And I don't know if you guys can see this, but I picked this up.
It's tiny, yeah.
It's a really tiny, tiny one.
Mm-hmm.
So I've been looking at it, and I've been reading online, and it said something about the window to the crystal. It's called a window to the crystal. It looks like a diamond.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And I was like, this is another one, but I've had this for a long time. I just found it. Okay. But anyway, so I was looking at this crystal, and it actually has a diamond on it. And this is the tiniest crystal I've ever had, ever. And I was just wondering if the power of the crystal, is it the size or no?
No,
It's
no.
not. Okay.
Marcel said that any crystal of any size, it does not matter the size, but it will hold unlimited amounts of memory because of its structure.
Mm-hmm.
And it will also give off the same amount of power, with the piezoelectric effect. But his crystals, now, this is one thing that he did say about the crystals that he cut to that tree of life pattern. He said that what he found was the more facets that you put on a crystal, and with those angles that he was, cutting them to, it would amplify the energy as it spins and rotates through the crystal. And that is why you can get one with 4 sides all the way up to, 144 sides, depending on how much money you want to spend.
Wow.
You want to spend, $6,000, get you one with 144 sides or whatever. But there's a guy named Drew Towsley that it still cuts them to Marcel's standards, which is cutting them with love and making sure that there's no harmful thoughts that go into the process. I think that is important. But when they strike them from the earth, when they are out mining them, they take on that trauma. And that's why when you get a natural quartz, it is imperative to go ahead and clear it of its memory, because it remembers that too, that striking and breaking and cracking. But the crystal is like a miniature version of you. It's almost like a mirror in a way, but it houses all your memories. When you connect with it, and we'll go through that in a minute. If you guys have your crystals, if you have a crystal or not, it doesn't matter. Once you connect to it, it becomes a mini me, which is a mini you. And it will, no matter where you go, no matter what you do, you can leave it at home. It will always know what you're doing. It's like a recorder, and it is recording your entire life. So what are they doing in the military with all this knowledge? Because they know this stuff in the Black Ops, they've made all of these different technologies based off of this knowledge. The monitor that you're using to watch this video right now can be linked to Marcel Vogel's work. He was the pioneer scientist for IBM to create the LCD screens. And they've only just, built upon that continually. And now they're making all kinds of crazy stuff that we are not aware of. But the chronovisor and chronoscope were 2 different devices that obviously in their construct, they use crystalline properties. They have to, absolutely, because they could look into the past. The chronoscope was the one that could look into the past. The chronovisor.
Hi guys, it's Andrew Zebron III again, and I'm here with a guest, Alan King, and we're just going to talk about
something that's just nuts. Over the last 2 years, the U.S. has printed near.
What in the world, Andrew? Was that?
That wasn't me. I placed the thing and somebody else did that.
How did that happen? That's weird. Roxy, was that you?
Uh-oh.
I don't know what that.
I just tried to put, click your links to see what they were. I didn't actually play. They just
you had your
play.
You can listen to it if you just.
I don't want to listen to it. I was just trying to pull it up so I had it in my history.
Oh yeah.
Because when this goes away, I won't have the links anymore, you know?
Well, I can certainly share the links too.
Okay.
If you lose
Sorry
it,
about
let me
that.
know.
Oh, no problem. That was funny.
I'm like, wow, look at that. Magic, y'all. Talking about LCD, how about LSD? That's like crazy. I was like, whoa, I'm in a different dimension.
Yeah, I felt that way too.
So anyway, yeah. Well, let's put an intention out. Y'all want to work on an intention right now?
Sure.
Yeah.
Whoever has a crystal, you can, use your crystal if you want. If you don't want to use crystal, that's fine. No big deal. I'm going to go ahead and discharge my crystal. And the way to discharge the crystal, again, you hold it between your two fingers of your undominant hand, if you wish. It doesn't really matter which hands you work. But then you want to put one of your fingers on one of the side facets at the top and then hold it underneath on the bottom. Looks like this. Then you start to breathe. We're going to sit up with a nice straight spine. Now, I'm not standing, but Marcel Vogel would probably recommend that you stand on your feet. So you start breathing through your nose, and on the third inhalation, you exhale swiftly out of the nose, always breathing through the nose because it has the most power. You can get the most electrical charge out of the body through the nose. So here we go. We're going to breathe in. Exhale, breathing in. Third inhale, we're going to breathe it out swiftly. Thinking clear. Then you test your crystal. As you imagine clear on that third exhalation, I imagine a rectangle that just overlaps the top. You're always focused on the top. And then you can feel it to see if it's silky smooth. If it's silky smooth, it has discharged its memory. If it still feels like it's kind of sticky and resistant to your finger going across the surface, then you need to discharge it again. And it's the same process. You just inhale. You build up the electrical charge in your body whenever you inhale and exhale. It's like a bellows of energy coming in and out in a positive, negative charge. So you inhale, which is positive. Exhale, which is negative. Inhale, positive. Exhale, negative. Third inhalation, you inhale, and then you think of clearing the crystal. And here we go. Swiftly out of the nose. Nice and clear. Slides across the surface. Now, if it's clear, you can go ahead and charge your crystal with your thoughts. So you inhale and feel love while you're looking at the crystal. And then sticky, very sticky. A lot of resistance. It has a lot of friction. Hey, Roxy, is that your fire extinguisher beeping? I don't know. I keep hearing them.
Oh, it's this. They're supposed to fix it. It's been like what, 2 months of wanting to fix it.
Yeah.
The battery's done.
Well,
nothing works.
Do you
You have
mind
to
muting
replace it.
Do you mind muting your microphone until we
Sure,
question?
no worries.
Okay, thank you. Sorry. Okay, so now that we've charged the crystal with love, you can also just put in a little healing in there. Gratitude. Okay, that's well charged, I would say. Now we can all focus on one intention of seeing this beautiful world on the other side of all this chaos. See it as it is in a present moment. Very important to see things as you wish them to be, as they already happen. What's that?
I did the love and stuff, but it doesn't. It feels smooth. It's like a little bit sticky, but not like it.
Let me see the bottom of that one, Roxy. What you got on the bottom? Is it
the sticker? Should I take it off?
Yeah, I can't tell if has that been polished at all? Does it look like the sides? I can't tell if the sides are even. Can you hold it up to the camera?
The sides are not even. Is that the problem?
No, what I want to see, because that, I mean, it looks like a natural crystal, but Okay, so Roxy, take your crystal
Mhm.
and start with one side at the top, one of the facets at the top,
Yeah.
and imagine a rectangle, just clear. It's just an outline. It's just like a line drawing,
Uh,
overlaying the top, like right
Okay.
here. And then exhale swiftly out of the nose, thinking clear, and then go around each other side at the top.
Well, I mean, I think it's
If it seems sticky, like if it doesn't seem like it didn't clear, you need to just go ahead and make sure it gets cleared all the way, and then charge it with love on, and you can go around each facet if you have to.
each facet.
But
Okay.
it seems like there's something that's blocking it. So we'll go ahead and just clear the whole thing by
Okay.
going to each facet, each of the
Okay.
6 facets, and then testing it smooth. If it's smooth, then go to each facet and put in love, and then see if that works.
Okay. Right. I'm gonna take my video off because I think it's making the video stop. So,
Okay, that's fine. Just, yeah, there you go. All right. Well, while she's doing that, and she can join us when she's ready, let's just imagine the beautiful world where everyone is working in harmony. And there's no more pain and no more injustice. It's a beautiful natural world that is in balance and harmony with nature and perfection. Just breathing in and exhaling gently through the nose. Envision the crystal in front of you. If you have a crystal, if not, just envision the world. And as you exhale, your vision is going out into the world. Inhale the vision into your physical form, and then exhale it outwards into reality. Just continue to breathe for a few moments with this technique and process of inhaling your vision into your physical form, and then exhaling it outwards into reality. Become the channel for this energy. Feel the love for that vision and inhale the vision. Then exhale while feeling that love. Imagine hugging people that you don't know. As you see them on the street, you're waving to them. Everyone's smiling and happy. The world is bountiful. There's no more poverty. Everyone is living in abundance and joy. Okay. Whenever you're ready, you can return. You can do this simple meditation, which is part of a hermetics. This is what we do in hermetics. When you use your imagination, coupled with your intention, it creates in the outer realm, in what we know as the physical form. So this is what we're teaching and learning and sharing in the journey of selfhood, is hermetics. It's the alchemy of self. How this physical form is basically a conduit to bring about reactions in the elements around us. the thoughts will manifest into form. And that is what all of this stuff can help us with. Well, you guys have any questions? I know that some of you have your crystals that you got from me, or you have some from other places. Just double check to make sure that they, if you, like, I know Andrew, he probably has natural crystals, I guess. Do you have natural crystals? Yeah. They're amazing when you really start to bring them in.
I can't see that.
Yeah, what is it?
How do you?
It's a jar of water, and what I did was I put my crystal in a nylon bag,
Mhm.
and I'd say all of my prayers into the water, and then I release it out in nature. So when I say my nighttime prayers, and then I do another prayer out in nature into the water, and then I release it, and then I capture some more and do it all over again. But there's a big crystal in here, a little bigger than the one Ellen has in her hand. But I put it in a nylon bag because I dropped one of these jars and it broke the jar.
Oh yeah, we can't see it because of the background thing.
Yeah.
That's so it's okay.
Oh, hang on, I'll take my background off.
Yeah, the background is interfering with the camera.
Sorry, I forgot about that.
Andrew, is this the crystal that you work with on a regular, or is this another crystal?
It's a crystal I use all the time. I could take it out of the bag, but it would get my room all wet.
Oh, that's okay.
No, I was just asking because of the 3 crystals that I have. I was wondering if I can work with all 3 of them for different things, or should I just work with one special?
I would use the more the merrier personally, yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, you can just have them everywhere. Like I've got usually 2 in my purse, and then I've got them all in my room, and have them in my vehicle, whatever. I just pick one up. It's like a pin, you just pick it up whenever you need it.
Now, do all the crystals that are associated with you, Ellen, do they all retain
Yes.
your experiences, even though you're not working with it on a regular?
Yes. Once you've connected your consciousness to any crystal, it will record everything you do. Like I said, it becomes an attachment, basically.
Okay, now you said that you had your amethyst. Was it amethyst like this, or was it like a rock, or what was it?
It's an amethyst crystal. It is a huge crystal point. I've never seen a purple. Well, I mean, not in my encounters of going to rock shows and things. This thing is like, very large amethyst, and it's a big chunk, and it's 1 point, and it probably weighs, it's over a pound for sure.
Okay.
And the amethyst that I have, it's not clear, but it is a natural amethyst because it has the white where it was removed from, whatever cluster it came from.
Okay.
But it is not clear. Now, one other thing that I was noticing too with, I was putting my intention to making a crystal clear. And the little inclusions that make it white on the inside, even Marcel said that they will eventually get clear over time. But I was using my thoughts to clear one of my crystal that I use most of the time. I was like, let me just see if I can start making it clear. And it seemed to have an effect that it's actually starting to clear up some of the inclusions on the inside. Because I was like, okay, I need to take pictures, while I'm using it. Because I feel like this is not only helping the crystal when we're discharging and giving it love and all this, that maybe these inclusions are going to start going away. But I know for a fact, which is weird, just to let you guys know, I've had asthma since probably 2007, adult onset asthma, because of a moldy house that I lived in Florida. And my asthma has been getting better. And I've been using the crystal more regularly. So I don't know if it's the frequencies that are shifting with, the sun and everything else, we're going up, or if it's my crystal use that is actually starting to cure what's ailing me. So that was kind of an interesting factoid. But you can use these things, you know, to go out and heal people, or go play with the plants, or go play with the clouds. Especially clouds are fun because you can watch them start to morph and do things. And then chemtrails, you can go, and once you've charged this with your thoughts and love, you can go out and just aim this at a particular point in a chemtrail pattern, and just focus on making it stop from that point all the way up. And the chemtrail will disappear. It'll dissipate. Now, this happens slowly in time because we've been in a dense set of energies during the age of Pisces. All the energies are starting to go up in this age of Aquarius, and everything is shifting. The energies are shifting. The dark magicians knew that the energies were going to come back down on that sine wave during the age of Pisces. But now that we're on this cusp, we're starting to kind of ascend in this sine wave of our evolution of soul throughout the cosmic great year. And that is why we're seeing all the chaos in the world, because they wanted to have control over us. They love this stuff. And I'm sure that they do this continuously as we go through the different phases of the celestial ages, which is the constellational patterns of the great year. The great year Yuga cycle, you know. It's interesting that you can get all of this information and truly start to know what is happening and why. We have these patterns of these sine waves so that our soul can learn from the evils of the world, or, you know, what we would call negative or bad experiences, and then know how much light we can experience. It's all duality, and it's based on the yin and yang principle. Yin and yang is feminine and masculine, but it's also all the elements in its form too. You have cold and wet, light and dark. You know, I've been learning all this stuff, and I'm trying to like think about how logically to put everything into one video so that people can comprehend this, because I feel like it's pretty important for us to truly comprehend our reality and the nature of all around us. And if we are the magicians, so to speak, why aren't we using our magic in more beneficial ways to assist in everything, absolutely everything? When you're passing people, you know, you're driving your car and you got your crystal in your hand, you're listening to the music, and you've already charged your crystal with love, zap somebody, you know, that's coming. This whole magical practice thing, it is on the rise right now, because I've seen the Wicca, the witchcraft, the zodiac, you know, astrology and astronomy, all these things are coming back into mainstream society, and it is coming, and no one can stop it at this point.
Question.
Yes.
You said that, you know, you're driving down the road, you're listening to your music, and you're zapping somebody. Aren't you supposed to ask for permission? Or, I mean,
And it is love. You are just,
oh, you're zapping them with love.
thinking, yes, you're thinking,
Okay.
like
All right.
sticking it out with love bubbles. Like imagine
okay.
a love bubble just encompassing their car, and just raise the frequency all around. We're using only the highest intentions with these crystals.
Right.
Now,
Okay.
when you're wanting to enter in someone's, you know, etheric field, that's when you need to ask permission, because you're going to violate some of the natural laws.
Okay. Yeah, we don't want to do that.
No, but when you're just like, it doesn't hurt anyone to love someone, you know?
Okay. I was just trying to, you know, make sure that, you know.
Oh yeah, no. But because if you were to do anything other than love, that's going to have cause and effect. You know, the laws of cause and effect are out there. So if you're like, nah, and you're attacking them with daggers in your mind instead of something else, it's going to be a mirror, and it's going to reflect back onto you. But if you're putting love out there, love's going to come back to you. That's how this works.
Okay.
The law of cause and effect are absolute.
How close do you need to be to somebody for it to have an effect?
You don't have to, they could be across the world. If you know someone, if you have a family member, someone traveling, all you have to do You can close your eyes. This is a technique Marcel Vogel teaches. So after you've discharged, charge a crystal with love, you look at the pyramid top, because you're always focused on that part. You look at that part and then imagine the person's image, their face. Close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, you want to be focused right here in your third eye. And usually what I start to see is like a negative image of the outline of my hands holding the crystal. It's interesting. When you really start working, you'll start seeing this because you're starting to activate your third eye. And he said that this is going to be a third eye activation process the more you work with it. Well, then when you breathe in, you think of their face, and then you take that image of their face and you overlap it onto the crystal image in your head. And then you release your breath, which is releasing that image into the crystal. It now has their image and your love together. Then, you can do it with your eyes open and your eyes closed, but you can inhale and you exhale swiftly out of the nose. That creates a sine wave of energy that goes off the charts, and it sends that frequency outwards, and it acts instantly in the ether, which is the Tetragrammaton.
Mm-hmm.
It's amazing. He did this continually because he worked with plants and the consciousness of plants before he ever worked with crystals. And so he was doing all these experiments where he was in another country, and he told his lab assistant to check the I think it was some sort, it wasn't a sonograph, I don't know, what's the machine, like the truth, when you're hooked up to the little machine and it's got like the graphs and it's reading, and they had these hooked
Lie detector.
Yeah, it's like a lie detector, but there's a technical term, it has an actual name. I forgot the name of it.
Okay,
It's just a graph, and it's just reading, energies and electric connectivities. Well, he told the lab assistant that he'd be connecting with the plant at a certain time and to note what happens to the machine. Well, then all of a sudden the machine started reading the different thought forms that Marcel was sending to the plant instantly. He was in another country and his lab was in LA. So when he studied the plants, he brought that knowledge into learning about crystals, along with what he had learned when he went to India to study Kundalini Yoga. And the Kundalini Yoga teaches you about movement of the body and moving the energy in the body, coupled with your breath, which is the prana. Prana is life force energy, which is ether. And we inhale it and exhale it every day. It's positive in, negative out. And so we are inhaling the Tetragrammaton as well. And that's why when we start to breathe, we're building up the electrical energy and the forces of the elements inside of us. When you start practicing pranayama and the different exercises that they teach, where you're inhaling and exhaling, inhaling, exhaling, and it's going to be deep breaths. And then breath of fire, which is the dragon breath, which is very short from the solar plexus area, the solar plexus chakra. You're going to be pushing the breath out in small, short bursts. So it looks like this. It's like a dog, but you're feeling it in your solar plexus, where you're actually breathing from down low in that area and using that. But it's short breaths in and out. And then there's other exercises that you can do that will build up the electrical charge in your body and then express outwardly and amplify more because you've brought more energy in. That's all in Kundalini Yoga. It's amazing. My second session, because I'm a friend of mine told me about her experiences with Kundalini Yoga, and I said, okay, I need to go try this, because she started having some interesting experiences. And so I went and I drove up to Decatur. It was in a month where I wasn't working on the movies. I drove up to Decatur each week, and I went for the first class and I was learning, and then the second class, we did some different exercises, but constantly using the breath and the movements. That second night that I went to sleep, I had a lucid state where I felt the Kundalini energy awakening from my spine. It was like electrical. It started at the base of my spine and it shot up to the back of my neck. And I was in this lucid state and I was like, oh my gosh, this is like also part of astral projection. So I got really excited like a little kid. And I was like, well, I want to remember how to activate this. And I was like a little kid turning on and off a light switch because I just went click, 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 click. And it would go up and down, up and down, up and down, up and down. I did this about 12 times. And because I am not conscious enough in my sleep states, I fell asleep. And I was so frustrated the next day. I was like, oh my gosh, I fell asleep. But the Hermetics teaches you to become more aware of absolutely everything in your thoughts, your actions, everything, discipline, because thought discipline elevates your soul. Your evolution will skyrocket when you start doing initiation into Hermetics. It's part of our foundation. It should be the foundation of where children are starting to learn, that we should learn this in childhood, not on the horizon of your life where you're like, oh, well, I got like 30 years now, I'm going to be signing off and then I got to come back and try to figure this all out again.
Yeah, right.
I'm so frustrated because I'm like, no, I don't want to lose this knowledge. I want to take this into the next incarnation so that I can just continue to build upon it. And I'm sure that some aspect will follow along, but I'll have to have some other different set of experiences. Now,
let me ask you a question. I've been reading up and Googling basically chakra dancing.
mm-hmm.
That wouldn't be the same, right? Because I know I started it, and because I like to dance,
mm-hmm.
so the chakra dancing has something to do with the tone of the music for each chakra. So I've done it a couple of times, and it's very meditative,
Mm-hmm.
But that wouldn't be the same as Kundalini Yoga, right?
Kundalini Yoga is a little bit different. Now, dancing in general, dancing as a practice is moving vital energy through the body. Kundalini focuses more on like meditation coupled with the body movements while you're sitting in like lotus position or other positions. And you are focusing on your third eye. So most of the time your eyes are closed and you're focused on your third eye while you're breathing. So a few of the different asanas, because that's basically what they are. Asanas are different poses and different applications of what we can do. Now, one of them is where you do a rotation of your neck and you go real slow and you inhale and you exhale. So you're focusing. You're not thinking about anything else. You're focused on your breathing. You're inhaling back and exhaling forward while your eyes are looking at your third eye between your eyebrows. And when you do this, and you're just only focused on your breathing, it starts to awaken things inside of you. But there's different actions. So you do it both ways. You're going to do it clockwise and counterclockwise because, again, this is bringing in, remember, clockwise is bringing in and counterclockwise is pushing out. And all of these movements are based on this. So then you're going to do like spinal spinning, you're like grinding on all of your organs, which is like squishing your organs around on the inside. That's moving energy in the body. But you're focused only on your breathing. I think it's a great practice because not only will it quiet your mind and get you to focus more, because when you shut off your vision, you're shutting off one of your five senses. This is part of hypnosis. And Roxy will tell you that, that this is what we learn when we learn hypnosis. You're shutting off one of your five senses. So now you're having to rely on other senses in your awareness. It's really just an art form in itself about, again, knowing thyself, pretty much. But when you start, turning off all these other senses, you get more in tune with the spirit instead of the physical form. And each one of you can channel your higher self and that higher consciousness that is you. You can do this. I've done this. And I get information from it. And it's loving information. Always, always love. It's of a higher frequency. I can't explain it except it is part of you. But these are the things that we can do. And this world is going to shift in this. And just imagine in 200 years what this external world is going to be like. It's going to be amazing. And as we continue into the age of Aquarius, 1,000 years in, wow, is all I got to say. Wow. Because we're about to get all that technology that they've been hiding, and all of the other stuff that they've invented. We're going to far surpass all this junk and the atrocities once people get on board of who they truly are, because they didn't want us to know who we truly are. The church came about and did that. The Vatican is at fault for this, for subverting knowledge, basically.
I agree.
They attacked the Druids and the foundational knowledge of everything and labeled it as demonic and witchcraft and all this other stuff. They came in
while they're using it.
Yeah, they killed people for their knowledge.
Yep.
And now the knowledge is seeping forth because, again, when they do this to others, they're doing it to themselves. So eventually the truth will come back around and slap them. That is absolute universal truth, cause and effect. It doesn't matter how far up the pyramid they go. They put themselves, this is how it works. They put themselves, let's say, there are people above Rothschild who pull the strings. They are unnamed people. And then even above them, there's more unnamed people. They disseminate down to different tiers below them of their intentions. And they're saying, okay, you do this. And then it goes down another tier. And then they send it down the chain of command, all the way down to the ground troops who are actually physically doing things in ignorance of what the cosmic laws of cause and effect actually do. But that cause and effect, eventually, it's like a wick to a stick of dynamite. And it'll take a few hundred years and all the way through the 2,000-year cycle, all the way back up to the top where it came from. And it's going to explode and backlash onto them.
Thanks, Will. All right, get down.
Yeah. I mean, I wish I could have the technology now. Like the crystal would be an amazing tool since it can hold all of your memories, your consciousness, all your thoughts, everything. Just imagine once we develop a device where you can just take this crystal and go click. Now I want you to comprehend what I see and what I think, in terms of how my visions come about. Then it would be like, wow, you could have this in this holographic thing out here and have a slideshow that you've never seen in your life. Because my mind is like, this goes here, 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 and here. With this double Aquarius brain that I came in with. I'm like, okay, all this stuff belongs right here. And this one goes here. It's like a puzzle for me. And I'm like, click, 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 click.
Yeah, but
and
that's
I
your gift.
how fast it's coming. What's that?
That's your gift.
I was
Not everybody can do that, Ellen. Not everybody can do that.
I want to just share it with everyone because I'm like, do you see? I'm like, look, I want to show everybody. Look at this. Click, 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 click. Look at this puzzle.
But you are. Look at the people that are in your group.
Oh, I know. And I know that there's people here that would normally be here too, but you know, everybody is doing different things in the summertime for sure.
Right.
Wintertime, I imagine more people will come for everything.
Look at Andrew and Roxy and me and all the other ladies and gentlemen that are in this group, right? So we're just one person, right? But like Roxy, she knows 5 people that are interested in this, and so does Andrew, and so does everybody else in this group. And those 5 people know 5 people, and those 5 people know 5 people. Do you know how much people that you can touch just by talking to us?
Oh yeah, I know.
That's huge. You know, and like I said, not everybody can do what you do. They can't put the pieces together.
Well, I'm just trying to serve this purpose. You know, I've been on this train now for a while, just absorbing. I've been like a sponge, just absorbing. And at first I didn't even know. I was being entertained at work. I was like, oh, this is interesting. That's interesting. Oh, this. And then I started going, wait a minute, that works with that and that. And I step off world and I look down and I'm going, oh my gosh, that and that and that are all the same, but it's a different name. And then all the names in the Bible are actually referring to different, you know, you think it's different characters, and then you find out that all of these names are the same person and all of those names are the same, or entities or what, you know, and you're just like, why all these names? Let's cut to the chase like an arrow into the truth. Because that's what happened. This Babel, Tower of Babel thing, Babylon, you know, Babel on. They made it where they confuddled the languages, confuddled the ideas and who the people are, the players in this whole construct, and then all of Metatron and star tetrahedrons and all that. Oh, this is out there, but it's not a part of you. Now we're pulling it back in because
that's because they don't want us to know about it. You know how strong we could be?
Yeah, well,
and we'd overthrow them in a minute.
Well, here we are right now, ground truth.
Yep.
We are doing this now because you and me, we're the answer. And I'm not even kidding. If you're not helping, then what's wrong with you? Let's jump on this train. You know, it's our thoughts. What can we do? I want to go out here and start making it rain more frequently because we need it. They're aluminum in the air. We can dispel this stuff. What's up, Roxy? You're on mute.
Maybe you could do a little rain dance video, just a little short one. I'll send it to my mother because she wants rain and she can go out there and stop.
Yeah, listen. All we have to do is use our imagination. Be a child again. You know, go out there and I'm going to make it rain. I'm going to swirl and swirl and swirl. And the swirling dervishes, you guys know about them?
No. What is that?
Well, they whirl. They call them the whirling dervishes, but they're men. And I think they're in Kazakhstan or somewhere. They're over there, like near Russia and everything.
They're Sufis.
Yeah, they swirl. They wear these white dresses and they swirl and swirl. And that's their dance. They swirl and swirl. They're bringing in energy. They are a whirlpool, basically, of energy.
They levitate.
They do? Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that. And what are they called?
They're the whirling dervishes.
They wear those robes that spin around.
Never heard of them. I'm gonna Google them.
Yeah, this is like I said, I'm exploring other worlds without being there, like other realms around our known existence. You know, online, I'm like, oh, what do they do? Oh, what do they do? Well, what are they doing over there?
I'm laughing because I think it's sweet and joyous.
What?
Yeah.
You know, you're excited and you're looking things up. I mean, how wonderful is that?
Exactly.
We gotta be like that. That's what kids do.
Well, you don't realize while we're sitting here in this class, my 17-year-old granddaughter's here.
Oh.
And that's who I've been talking to.
Mm-hmm.
So she's been in and out of the kitchen, but she's also got her ear out. She's listening. And then, you know, she asked me about all this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know, when I'm not as informed as you guys are, but I'm learning. So what I know, I give to her. because she's actually a clairvoyant.
Oh.
So yeah, she's been a clairvoyant since she was a little itty bitty girl.
Mhm.
So she's very gifted. So so I said, yeah, come. She wants me to start reading cards again, but
Yes.
That sounds fun.
yeah, I used to read cards. I don't read cards. I got into the it's evil, it's evil, It's a long story. So
Yeah.
I threw everything of my spiritual stuff. I threw it in the trash.
Aw.
And then I realized that I was on the right track to begin with. So
Yeah.
now it's just collecting everything again. So
Right.
Well, it's all a learning curve, and there is no wrong or right. It's just about what you feel guided to do at the time.
right. Well,
Yeah.
I was learning.
We all are, and I'm just a kid. I'm trying to just be like, hey, everybody, look at all these tools. Look at our world is actually amazing, and so are we. So let's go play. That's kind of what we need to get back to.
You're so cute.
Well, it is, because aren't we just children that became big?
Yeah. That's true.
They pluck that creativity and that joy out of us by forcing us to go to their mind control schools and be subjected to their matrix of control. That's
Yeah.
all it is. If we go out here and we become divergent and deviant and like, we're out here, well, I'm going to do what I want to do, which is great. Y'all want to play? You go out and you just do ridiculous stuff and skip and jump rope and do cartwheels and, play, whatever it is you play at, you just go and be the childlike again with the curious nature of a child. This is what Marcel Vogel also expressed. He said, I go and I am a child. He has his lab, and he would go in and experiment. He's like, I become a child when I'm in my lab because I want to play with different ideas. But then at the moment that he needs to start studying what he's doing, he becomes the scientist and he dons that scientific mind. That was just amazing. I wish I could have met this man. You guys have no idea. The power of the information that he presented was just, it blew me away when I've been through hours and hours of these videos. Because I believe sharing is caring, and I'm interested in many, many, many different things. And my things are so crazy and all over the place. Here's a video. It's called Focus 21, The Future, the CIA's advanced techniques of what they learned from all of these mind study things. I'm going to put that in the chat too. And then there's some websites too that I've come across where you can actually start to do these hermetics. And they call it, of course, magical practice, but it teaches you things about yourself and about focus, how important focus is, and being able to focus your intentions in certain directions. So when you focus on your food, for example, why does prayer work? It starts making sense when you do conscious eating, breathing, drinking, taking a shower. You charge the food with whatever your intention is. So you're looking at the food because it is part of the matrix. You focus your energy of, if you want a job or if you want, something to manifest in your life. And then as you eat the food, you imagine it going into your form and it is already as it is. Again, this is like what we do when we're meditating. If we're meditating on a particular idea that something already is established, then that's exactly what you do in a microcosm kind of way, is you take that into each action in your daily practice. And this is what Hermetics teaches. I'm trying to see if I've got any more things that are right up here, but listen, guys, I have a wealth of information on all kinds of different techniques, modalities. You know, you want to learn about mantras, you want to learn about chakras, you know, doing the Kundalini Yoga. I've got all these links I've just been collecting. Like, I'm just becoming my own database so that I can say, if someone comes to me, I'm like a concierge of information. I'm like, okay, you come to me with a question of a certain modality or information. I'll say, okay, I have this, 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 and this, and I'll just send you links. And then you can go, you know, look at something. There's so many amazing websites and information and stuff where people are sharing and trying to pour back into the entire collective the knowledge of information of whatever it is, you know, whether it's a healing modality or magical practice, or it's something for nature, you know, gardening. I mean, I even go into these realms, you know, of, hey, what can you do with gardening? We've got a lot of very interesting implements that will be coming out from different directions of these inventors and things. I've been following what is called the breakthrough energy movement, and you can look this up. It's the breakthrough energy movement that where these conferences have been held over in the Netherlands since about 2009 or 2010, where scientists, inventors, and other people of high intelligence get together and they speak about the different ideas that they have and how to get the free energy to the people, to get past the gatekeepers, which is the patent offices. And they've been collaborating because they know that it basically boils down to them giving out and disseminating knowledge freely, because that's really the only way that we can far surpass this, you know, ultimate control system that we're in. I think one of their hurdles was they wanted to be able to invent some things, but how to do it without having interference, and in such a way that it won't be too costly for people to obtain things. But the patent office is the biggest hurdle, and how they, you know, obviously they suicide people and do all kinds of things. They'll shelve your idea and buy you out, and it's dirty, 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 but it's coming. Free energy is coming to us. And I believe once we get on the other side of 2030, we're going to be like done with what's happening with them trying to grasp at straws, which is what's happening right now. We just have to be the change of what we can do in our immediate surroundings, and, you know, offering up any kind of advice that we have. Let's open up and share collaboratively our ideas and inspiration and our successes, our stories, our experiences. We need this on a regular basis. And that's why I encourage all of you and anyone who's going to be watching this video, because I'm going to put this up on my channel, to go out and be childlike with the world. And especially if you're interested in crystals and what they can do to amplify your thoughts, you know, go play and experiment. I've also done this, and I know some of you already know. I'll take my crystal and a set of L rods for dowsing, and I'll go out around in my yard looking with the intention of finding energy grids that need to be healed. And you walk around with your dowsing rods, and it takes a little while to get used to your dowsing rods, because it's going to be like learning a new skill. And each person is going to have different results. My dowsing rods, when I hold them in my hand, I have my thumbs loosely resting on the top. I'm not trying to pinch them down. You just hold them loosely. And my left rod is always my guide. For whatever reason, it will point in the direction that I need to go, while the right one just kind of sways gently, like it's just reading, you know, it's like reading. And the left one will be like, you need to turn left more. Okay, you need to turn right more. And I just follow that one. But I learned only by going out and playing with them. So then you go out, and eventually they just go wonk. And I'm like, okay, let's just make sure that's what I'm looking for. And I'll walk away, from that spot, and I'll just come back around to it. And again, it'll go whoomp, and I'll take my crystal out after putting away my rods, and I discharge it, recharge it with love, and then I imagine myself as a conduit. Now, I usually try to take off my shoes, but it will work with your shoes on because I've done it both ways. I imagine myself as a conduit, and I imagine a white light coming down from above, going through me and down into the earth and anchoring that energy into the earth deeply. And I only sit there for 6 seconds while I imagine love coming through this channel. 7 seconds. I'll put my crystal away, take out my rods, try to douse that area again, and they do not cross.
Oh, wow.
I have had 100% success with this method.
Now, where'd you get your rods?
What's that?
Where'd you get your rods?
My rods came from a little kit, and I believe I got that kit a long time ago from Barnes and Noble. Like they had like an energy dowsing kit thing, and it came with a pendulum, and it came with a little book where you could learn how to douse, and it came with the little chart that's a little card where you can use your pendulum with the yes no questions and stuff, and it had the rods in it.
Oh, okay.
My rods have little copper sleeves, like little tiny copper pipe sleeves on them for the metal to go in. It just makes them a little bit more where they swing easier. But you can actually take a coat hanger, a metal coat hanger, and cut it to the L rod shape. So what you do is you cut your coat hanger, you cut it like at the base of it on the bottom of the coat hanger, it's a triangle, cut it at the bottom right in the middle, and then pull that out to where it makes an L. Now you want to have it where the coat hanger bottom, that bottom part is like just sticking out of your hand above and below. And then that long part is about twice the length of the bottom part that you hold in your hand. And just make sure they're nice and straight, and you can just go out there and practice with them. And they'll just, you don't want to hold them steady, but, play with them up and down, like, putting them forward and back until they stay level. But if you tilted them up, they would probably come apart, or if you tilted them down, they'd come together. You want to just kind of get that feeling of the proper position. And then just go out and you're walking around and just resting your thumbs on the top, allowing them to kind of move a little. You don't want them to kind of go rank, all over the place. That's why I say it takes a little while to get the feeling of it. And then eventually you put your intention, you can go find gold or whatever, coins. You can do this because, again, your higher self is connecting and somehow is resonating with the intention, and it's feeling for the vibrations that you're looking for. It's a fascinating technique. We came here to play and to learn. So let's do it. Let's do it together and share what you know. If you know something better than I do, good. Let's come on, bring it. Let's add it to the collective pot. So you guys got any comments, questions, suggestions, anything from all of this that I've been presenting today? Because it's a lot, but that matrix, I'm telling y'all, this is deep stuff, and it's important. And now that we get the foundation of it and that knowledge that this is how our thoughts are affecting these fields of energy. Yeah, it's magic, if you want to call it that, but it's not too, because it's our reality. So let's use it. Let's use it to our benefit. I'm ready. I don't know about y'all, but I'm excited. I'm like, this is so important. It's more important than you can ever imagine. And then, I keep expressing myself as far as what we wear. We're wearing all these chaotic frequencies. We're wearing all these chaotic colors. It affects all these fields out here. And the food, and the water. Water is everywhere. It is the matrix. I
Well,
love.
I've noticed that since I really got into what I was supposed to do when I was young, the I don't crave meat anymore.
Mhm.
You know, I eat a lot of vegetables and, you know, rice, you know, and I don't seem to crave the meat, which is kind of weird because I was a meat eater.
Yeah, well, we're changing frequencies. So the body is going to tell you what it requires.
So how did everybody when you started changing? And I'm asking everybody in the room because you know I'm new to this. All right. How did you know you were not how do you know you were changing, but were there like tattletale signs like you when you were telling me that you put the amethyst underneath your pillow and then you were doing the what was it? The Kundalini Yoga,
Mhm.
right? And things started changing for you. Did everybody experience similar? Like when you go do yoga, not yoga, but meditations, what I found is that, and please forgive, I'm just very curious. I get tingles on my right side of my head or my left side of my head.
Mhm.
And I've noticed that it's coming more and more. And what is that?
It's probably you connecting to your higher self, honestly. So let me just give you a little bit more insight of my Kundalini experience and what I was doing, because it was in the month of April and it was back in I want to say 2018 or so. When I decided to take that, I was also going to class. I started a class at the Kabbalah Center in Atlanta for learning about Kabbalah. But then also I decided to start really digging in and doing sun gazing, full body earthing. And I would also anoint myself with salt and oil combination. So I have coconut oil that I put sea salt in. And there's also a mixture where you can use grapeseed oil because it won't solidify.
Mm-hmm.
And I have salt that actually came from the Dead Sea that I grabbed by my own hands. So
Wow.
I used that as my combination. And every time I would get out of the shower, I would anoint my body with oil from head to toe to bottom of my feet. The bottom of the feet is very important too, because whatever it is inside of me has told me, and I haven't really scientifically found any basis for any of this, that to increase the electrical connectivity in your body, you need the salt and oil. And that this is probably a process that Egyptians did. I don't know. You know, I haven't looked at that. I haven't researched it, but I know salt is very important because it's crystalline. And they've demonized salt in our existence, but they've also extracted all the mineral content from it that, you know, the ones that they sell us on the shelf. But we need those minerals and we need salt. So I was doing all these different things and I was doing it daily. And when you do all of these things, all of these actions to try to connect with something greater, some higher aspect of yourself, it starts to make that connection. And that's why the Kundalini Yoga was working for me.
Mm-hmm. Is that the same with all of you guys in this group?
I'll tell you what happened with me, and it wasn't so much that I was changing. You know, I was in CC with Ellen, and I've been around a lot of healers for the last several years, and I kind of felt kind of jealous because I'm sitting there going, why can't I do this stuff?
You feel the same way?
Pardon?
You feel the same way?
Well, I used to.
Oh, I'm sorry. Ellen, stop laughing at me.
I used to. Now, not anymore. And some of this started with, in our group, there's a couple really powerful healers. I mean, world-known healers, and one of them would have days when she just had too much stuff going, and the one day she reached over and grabbed my hand, and you could just see the stress and everything coming out of her. And so at first we realized that I was a ground for people to help them clear of this.
Wow.
And that in itself was a blessing. And then I got thinking about it, and I remembered when I was a little kid, I could do this kind of stuff for people. And it's not that I developed it, it's that I've become aware of it. And then about a couple weeks ago, my wife went in for reflexology treatment, and we're talking to the gal afterwards, and I said, yeah, I can ground people and do that. And she says, well, I'll tell you one even better. He can take my hand and put his hands around it and hold it. And she's got really bad arthritis, and the arthritis is gone. All the pain is gone. And I looked at her. I looked at her and said, "Why didn't you tell me that?" And since then, I've had other people that have a shoulder that's hurting or something, and I can put my hands on and concentrate on it, and I can heal it. So, I sent a message to Ellen the other day, and I said, "So, what kind of crystals can I use to magnify this? I want to take this ability and make it stronger and be able to do more healing and heal myself and that kind of stuff." And I'm thinking that just about any crystal would probably help. Probably amethyst, because it's associated with healing, might be the best one to use. I don't know, but I'm going to experiment with different ones, see how it goes. But yeah, for me, it's not that I don't feel that I've developed it. I just became aware of my God-given abilities, which is pretty amazing. It's really amazing.
Yeah, it's really amazing.
Yeah.
And that's all it takes, is we haven't really gotten in touch with who we truly are. What is it that we're truly gifted with? But John, so what Marcel says, he says, you don't need any other stone or crystal except the clear quartz, because the clear quartz works with the 7 rays of color. And you already have one, right? I mean, you had gotten one before. So that's all you need to amplify.
Okay.
Yeah, so most people probably don't know that too, about the clear quartz being, it's the white light, which has all 7 rays of color, which means it reacts with all of those color fields. Yeah, has anybody else got interesting stories to share? Andrew, you got anything?
Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the chat that the Bible is actually a technical manual, and the white hats are using it to undo the matrix they put us in. And a friend of mine told me that, which is really actually amazing. I've never read the Bible. I'm not like a Bible thumping person. I believe in God and all that. But I was amazed when he told me that. I was like, what? I could not believe it. And if these water prayers that I do, I've been doing this for a few years now, and something amazing happened last year in August. I went down to the lake in my kayak, and I got out and I took my boots off and I stuck my feet in the water right next to Lake Erie. And I did my water prayer. And as soon as the water prayer was over, I said to myself, now look around the beach to see if you can find any important stone tools. Because I was at the mouth of 18 Mile Creek in Hamburg, New York. And it's right next to Gray Cliff, which is a Frank Lloyd Wright home. And I actually used to spend time there as a kid because my cousin was married to a stonemason who did some work there. So I did the prayer and I said, "Where? Show me some stone tools if there's any here." And I went and found 2 of them. And I
Wow.
never found one in my entire life. I found 2 of them. And then after that, if that wasn't epic enough, I got my kayak and started going towards my car. There's a deer there at the lake, and it was standing on an island. The only way for that deer to get to the island was to swim there. So I don't know how it got there, but I got a picture of the deer on the island. And that's all documented in this little video that I put in here earlier. It's about a 10-minute video. So it's in the show notes if you guys want to see it. And also, you know that sigil you were talking about, that mandala, that shape? Aliens put that in the earth over in Oregon in 1990. They cut it into the earth like a crop angle, or like a crop circle, or a Nazca lines design. They cut it into the desert, and guess who found it? The Air Force. And as soon as they found it and told the world, everybody's like, "Oh my God, look at this," because it was absolutely perfect, you know. And two or three guys chimed up and said, "Oh, we did it," like those idiots over in England.
Yeah.
Okay, who said they made all the crop circles?
Yeah, no, they aren't making that stuff, you know. Some of this stuff is like unbelievable. There's one, I know what you're talking about. There's one that here we go. I'm going to pull this up on my screen and then share screen. Yeah, look at this, guys. Look at this. Can y'all see this?
Oh, wow.
There it is. This is the Tetragrammaton and Metatron and all the other things.
Yeah, Doug and Dave did that after the pub.
Yeah.
What? I
Doug
didn't
and
hear
Dave
that.
did that after the pub one night.
Oh, yeah, right.
Yeah, because they can do sacred geometry so perfect, you know, and within what, a 12-hour span too.
Yeah.
Yeah, though this just has the grid overlaid so that you can see what the design actually means. But this also was part of Dan Willis's presentation. He was showing this with Elena Danan recently. And I do encourage people to go and watch that video because it's pretty special. You know, they're getting down to the bottom of it too. Like, this is our world. This is everything. This, you can even see the cube of Saturn right here as it comes out. And, you know, it's part of Metatron's cube. But this cube of Saturn has a certain frequency apparently, and that's what they've been using. They've been bringing in this specific energy. And we don't yet know, or there's probably people who do know, what it means exactly. But that's what Satan is. It's this cube because it's Saturn. And yeah, there's a lot of different things in there, but oh, so much coming. They said that this time would come. They've already predicted this, you know, that all shall be revealed.
Yeah, but it's exciting that we're here to witness it.
It's exciting, but on the same token, it's like, can we just get to the other side already? This whole money construct thing, I'm like, can we just be beyond this? And I know we're not going to, even once we get beyond the cabal. The money is just, it holds us back from our progress, from exploring. You know, I want to go see the world. I want to explore more. I want to interact with more people. I just want to know what other people do with their lives and, you know, see the sacred sites and be able to be immersed in all these different frequencies. I don't know. It's frustrating for me because it's like, oh, please, humanity, can we just, for the love of God and everything in existence, can we just move forward as a species, please?
But I heard a lot of people are starting to wake up now. I mean, there's certain people that I didn't have a clue that they knew anything. You know, my customers, you know, friends, my daughter, you know, they like with me, I started with the conspiracy theories. I actually started listening for the reptilians, which blew my mind. And then it's just started snowballing after that. But I've always been spiritual. But a lot of people are waking up. So you know,
It's
especially
coming.
the kids. The kids are waking up too, which is important because they're our future.
Yeah.
So
It is definitely a process, and we have to practice patience. That's really what this is all about, is like spiritual patience, but everything's coming in due time. Did you say something, Andrew?
I said, are we there yet?
Oh,
yeah, right.
does anybody else have anything to share?
Show you guys a stone tool I found out back.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting.
But these are the two that I found right here.
Oh,
These,
Oh wow, what are they?
they're chert. They're stone tools. And I've never seen anything like this in my life. This is the two that I found at the mouth of 18 Mile Creek.
mm-hmm.
They're absolutely amazing.
good?
This one has like a flat side that you can see was like for scraping hides or something like that.
Hmm.
And then this one just fits in your hand really well. And I got something even more amazing. You guys are not going to believe this. If you watch my 10-minute video, you'll see photographs of Bigfoot footprints
Mm-hmm.
that I got on 2/22/20. And
I
then
believe that.
my son found this rock not very far from the Bigfoot footprints.
Interesting.
It's a stone tool and it fits in your hand. It's got finger holds on it. See them?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In your hand like a glove. And somebody must have used this for like hundreds of years to do that. They must have passed it down from generation to generation.
Wow.
I don't understand this rock at all. This came out of my backyard. And I live on Eternal Flame Falls Creek
Mm-hmm.
in Orchard Park, New York. And there's an actual flame in the falls. It's burning 24/7. The gas is coming out of the ground.
Wow.
Really?
Yeah, it's called Eternal Flame Falls. I'm about a mile from it.
Wow.
And this was found in the creek behind my house. And I got pictures of Bigfoot footprints as well. On 2/22/20. And also a few years before that, I got a picture of a fairy in my backyard.
That's
I
so-
saw one.
You did?
Sorry, yes, I
Where?
did. I saw one. I was at a customer's house, and that actually is really funny because my customer was a minister. and I was sitting, I'm a smoker, so I sat out in my car, just not relaxing, but smoking a cigarette for 5 minutes. And I had bought a new car. So I was just sitting like in the seat, but I was blowing the smoke outside the door. Okay. I just want you to picture that in a driveway. And there was 2 small trees for aesthetic reasons, to make the house look better. And I was just sitting there and something flew in my car. And for some reason, I just stood, I stopped for a second. And my first thought was, did I just see what I just thought I saw? So I turned my head and there was this little, I don't know how to explain it, a little being. Okay. It was over by my rearview mirror and it was just there. It didn't move. It didn't fly. It was just there. But when I looked at it, my first feeling was, oh my goodness, she saw me. But that feeling was not mine. I was very excited. But that's the feeling that I got, that like surprise. And as soon as I felt that feeling, this little being flew out my car and flew into one of the trees. Now it was just, it didn't happen, it happened within seconds, so it was like really quick. But yeah, I saw a fairy.
Wow, and you read its thoughts.
Yeah, and then I felt the thoughts. Yeah. I didn't read the thoughts, I felt it. Because I'm learning that I'm an empath and I'm a clairaudient. However, I'm trying to figure out how I'm doing. Oh, anyway, it doesn't matter. But yeah, so yeah. And unfortunately, I went inside because I'm a very open book. Ellen knows this. I talk a lot, as you can tell. And I told my customer she had a fairy in her garden, and she laughed at me. But you know, my customers know me very well. They think I'm woo-woo anyway. And unfortunately, like 4 years later, she cut the trees down. I was very upset. I was very, very upset. She put rocks. I said, oh my goodness, that's where she lives. But anyway, so yeah, that was my experience.
Wow. Yeah, she's told me this story a few times. I believe, because I had my own experience here at my house.
Oh yeah, you gotta tell them that.
My roommate put up a teepee. He's told me once, he's like, I just want to find a place where I can build a teepee. I've always wanted to build a teepee. I said, have at it. I was like, I got a backyard. You can do whatever you want to do. So he built a teepee, and he went and he cut some bamboo poles. They were 16 feet long, and he got some painter's tarps, and I was out there painting them for him while he was at work. I said, you know what, I'm going to just do this. And it was blazing hot. This was last summer. But I was painting it, and there was no wind during this time. And I was just sweltering, just pouring sweat. And all of a sudden, you know, I was just thinking about what I was doing, but I kept hearing this to my right. And I didn't really come into my awareness until, you know, it was just constant. And I turned to look. All of a sudden, the leaves that were there on the ground started to swirl. And they were swirling clockwise. And I said, oh, I love those things. You know, I love those little whirling dancing leaf patterns. And I just sat there looking at it because I was like, well, there's no wind. So I'm not sure how that's happening. And as the wind in this leaf pattern swirls settled, the leaves settled to the ground, and all the scattered leaves that are on the ground all of a sudden started being swept to side, from one side to the next, like someone was walking through the leaves. So it was left and right and left and right. And I was like, oh my, I was like, that's one of those devas, DEVAS, which is an elemental spirit. I've heard about them, read about them, but I've never seen anything, you know, and I don't see beings. So I'm just watching this thing and pleasantly surprised with a roller pole in my hand as it walks towards me, but yet behind me, you know, like, so it was coming behind. It stood behind me in front of the teepee, and the leaves stopped like someone was standing there. And I'm like, I just started talking to it. I said, oh, hello. I was like, I know you're there, and I'm just painting this teepee. I can't see you, I'm sorry, but I'm just here painting this teepee. And one thing that I noticed, you know, that's all that happened during that experience, but I had been inside the teepee and just feeling the energy in there. I decided to sit in there for a few minutes. And I was like, wow, you can really feel the orgone energy when you sit quietly in that, because it's a scalar shape. It's a conical shape, and it's harnessing the earth energy. And I was thinking that maybe that's why the elemental was attracted to what I was doing, was because it was giving off a certain type of frequency that made it curious. Like, hey, you're really trying to do something over here, aren't you? That's the only thing that I could come up with as a conclusion of this experience, because it was so bizarre. I was like, people were not going to believe me, you know? And I was in disbelief because I had only read about this kind of stuff. And it's a fascinating thing when you really start paying attention to absolutely everything around you. But these things are interacting with us all the time. We just don't notice. Something to think about, you know, just start paying attention to your surroundings, because they say that there's air elementals, fire elementals, earth elementals, and water elementals. I had listened to a video on YouTube while I was working on Walking Dead, And they were talking about magnetic water traps and how you can spin water in a vortex and get these benefits and things of the electrical fields that it creates by drinking the water and washing and whatever. Well, this couple apparently had created this magnetic water trap that would rotate and spin the water, but I guess it was big enough to where it created a magnetic field. So you put magnets around these things too. But they had an experience where they extracted a water elemental spirit out of the water. And they said that it happened like this. So they have the water in the magnetic trap and it's spinning in its vortex. And after a while, they said this little cloud came up from the water and it floated over to like the man and then floated over to the woman and then floated off away. And then all of a sudden, pop, there was this little being, like a little elf type person, just, you know, sitting there in front of them. And they're like, what? They're all just as surprised as it was. And the thing realized that they could see him and he dashed out of the open window. And they were like,
Wow.
what in the world just happened, you know? Well, then they said, you know, after a time, they would sit at the window, you know, I guess it was a kitchen window, like where the sink was or something. And they'd be sitting at a computer across the way. They would look at the window and the little guy would be peeking in the window sometimes. I guess he was trying to figure out how to get back where he came from. It was an interesting, sweet story. And I was like, maybe it happened, maybe it didn't. I don't know. I just take everything with a grain of salt and just put it in the data bank of knowledge, you know, of stories and things that I hear. And now that I'm able to have my own experience, and then Janet's had her experience, and Andrew, you know, all these people are coming up and sharing their experiences. It's like, wow, we really do live in a fairy tale land.
We do.
We do. They were telling us in the Flintstones. Remember the Great Kazoo in the Flintstones?
Oh, yeah.
That little guy that would pop in and out of their existence.
Yes. Well, they've been telling us that all of this is mythology because they don't want us to believe it. Because if we don't believe it, then if we see it, we still won't believe it, you know? It just puts it in the collective consciousness that it doesn't exist. Because your thoughts create your reality. Welcome back is all I've got to say. Welcome back home.
Well, all these ancient sites, you know, they have spaceships and they have spacemen, you know, all these things on TV, like not TV, but pictures.
Like the glyphs,
Yeah.
like hieroglyphs and pictoglyphs and all this other stuff.
Yeah, and they have pictures of people that, you know, are just taking pictures and some strange thing is behind them.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know? I mean, it's real,
Mhm.
but they choose for us not to believe it. Because if we believed it, then we become stronger. And if we become stronger, they have no chance.
Yeah.
So they want to keep us in bondage.
Mhm. All we need is the belief in ourselves, you know?
That is it.
Restore the belief system of us being powerful beings.
Right. Because we're spiritual beings having a human experience.
That's what they
And not
say.
the other way around.
Mhm. Yes. Welcome to the Matrix, y'all.
You're right.
It's real. And we are the architects. That's the beauty to that too. Like we are the architects of this world. And when we get back to the age of Aries, which is going to be a very long time, you know, even maybe before then, we're going to be able to just manifest all this stuff without having to use tools and hands and verbal, you know, things and all that. That's what they're proving right now. There's actually some information I came across, and maybe I can read it to you guys. It's about DNA. Let me see what I did with it. And the DNA is actually holographic in nature, and it teleports. So it says here, DNA molecules can teleport, and this is a Nobel Prize winner says. Is like telepathic DNA is a question mark. A Nobel Prize winning biologist has ignited controversy after publishing details of an experiment in which a fragment of DNA appeared to teleport or imprint itself between two different test tubes. That this is what's happening in science. They're basically proving that spirituality is real. And according to a team headed by Luc Montagnier, previously known for his work on HIV and AIDS, two test tubes, one of which contained a tiny piece of bacterial DNA, the other pure water, were surrounded by a weak electromagnetic field of about 7 hertz. And so I have to go page by page here. Okay, 18 hours later, after DNA amplification using a polymerase chain reaction, where have we seen this? Polymerase chain reaction, that's PCR test. Yes, people, here we go. As if by magic, the DNA was detectable in the test tube containing pure water. Huh. Oddly, the original DNA sample had to be diluted many times over for the experiment to work, which might explain why the phenomena has not been detected before, assuming that this is what has happened. Yeah, they got some really interesting factoids. What does this all mean? It could be that the propagation of life is able to make use of the quantum nature of reality to project itself in subtle ways, as has been hinted at in previous experiments. Alternatively, it could be that life itself is a complex projection of these quantum phenomena and utterly depends on them in ways not yet understood because they are incredibly hard to detect. Now let's see what else we got here. Speculatively, and Monnier doesn't directly suggest anything so unsubstantiated, it could also be the little understood quantum properties of the water molecule and not just its more obvious chemical bonding properties that gives it such a central role in the bioengineering of life forms. Water might be a good medium in which DNA can copy itself using processes that hint at quantum entanglement and teleportation. Montagnier's paper goes on to discuss the phenomena he claims to have uncovered using quantum field theory within the context of his personal interest, which is disease propagation. Isn't that interesting? DNA is likely a holographic projection like all light and matter. Atomic black holes have magnetic vortices from the quark gluon plasma. All atoms have extremely brief transitory existences, being holograms. And that is that whole presentation. Very interesting, though, that they talk about the polymerase chain reaction, which is PCR test.
Yep. And how does the Bible start? God said, let there be light.
Yes.
Yep.
So what a lot of these scientists are implying when they talk about Tetragrammaton is that the Tetragrammaton is what we know as God, because it reacts with absolutely everything and affects absolutely everything.
Wow.
And I've heard from listening to UFO videos where they supposedly talk to ETs and all this stuff, and they said that the ETs have never found any entity called God, but they found that the reality that we live in is as God. I can't
like the energy, right?
Yeah, like the Tetragrammaton, basically,
Yeah.
which is the fabric of everything. That is God. So, you know, I believe that more than religioning my mind into a book. I'm not to say that there's some truth in the Bible or any other religion. I'm sure that everything has its basis, you know, in truth, but that things were subverted.
I agree.
The knowledge has been subverted is all. But now we're coming back in a quantum understanding. And what's going to be hard for future generations is just like it's hard for us now in this moment to reestablish the ether and the quantum, like it used to be called the ether, and it was spelled AETHER, and then it was ETHER, and now it's quantum, which is the same thing. But as time goes by and people, you know, come about in different generations, they start renaming stuff, a different name, a different term, and it confuses and confuddles the knowledge in the future if it gets squelched and stifled again. Then people are scrambling trying to figure out what's what. So that's what we're doing with, you know, all of these gods that people call gods out here: Odin, Zeus, Poseidon. You know, you have all these different arrangement of names. Were they beings? Yes, absolutely. Why not? We know that the giants, and that whole narrative is coming back to us, and that the giants were Anunnaki, and that the giants actually were trying to help us, and that we are half-breeds. We are half them and half something else. That's what I've found out recently about Anunnaki, is that we were genetically altered or created in a form, and we have the same capabilities as they do. But, and I don't know if any of this is true. This is all just, you know, information floating around out here in the ether space, because that's what the internet basically is ether space. Oh, and space. Let's just briefly talk about that. So space is all around us. They want us to think that it's somewhere out there, you know, that's outer space. No, this is all outer space, everything, all the air and ether around us. So, you know, Space Force. Oh, we are the Space Force, guys. What's the force? The force is, well, the energy that we use, you know, that whole tetrahedron thing and tetragrammaton. The force comes from this and reacts with this. Space Force. Galactic. Anyway, you know, there's a lot. It's a lot. And we got to just sift through it all and digest it. So you guys ready to like go out and conquer the world with your thoughts in good ways, positive ways, grow plants and play with clouds and water and see what you can actually do as magical, practical beings in here?
I'm actually going to use one of my crystals. There's a tree, a small tree that my daughter gave me. And for, I guess it's because it's been so hot, the bottom limbs are dead. So, I mean, the top is okay, but the bottom limbs are dead. And I feel bad for this plant. So I'm going to go outside and start using my crystal on it and see if that helps, you know.
Yeah, and not only the crystal, but just give it love as you're doing that. Just say, I love you, you know, sing to it, whatever. Just start.
Well, I already do that. I love, you know.
Pouring that love on out in different ways. You know, so something that came to me, why not also use radionics? And these are just experiments, they just pop into my head all the time. Get a zip tie or a string, and on a piece of paper or a piece of cardboard or piece of wood, something flat, draw a sigil with either, you know, Star of David pattern or something, create a symbol using some of this knowledge. Implant with your mind love into the field. It can be the Tetragrammaton. You can print it out and just, you know, glue it to something that you stick on the tree, like tie it to the tree and experiment that way too.
Okay.
Marcel said that there was a man who was working with plants and he infected the plants with cancer. And he was able to remove the cancer by spiraling a copper coil clockwise around the base of the plant and then sticking the other end in the ground. Oh, wow. See, this is simple practices that we need to share. It's all just knowledge. That's why I haven't even been through all of Marcel videos, but every time I watch a different one, there's something else to add to the knowledge pot. I think we could do this with ourselves too. If we had, say, some kind of contraption that we could attach to our foot, like a cuff or something that you could just clip on, click. And then if you already had a spiral cord or of a coil of copper wire, it's a stiff kind of wire, not the loose one, that you could stick in the ground and then attach to your copper cuff, and then just sit out there in a rocking chair or something while you're attached to the ground. I mean, these are all just things that come to my head as experiments for us to try to.
Oh, that's a good idea.
change.
And you can get a copper wire at Lowe's, right?
Yeah, I mean, you can cut off, have a specific link cut or whatever you need, they have at the hardware stores. And you can get, maybe a link that you could even just bend around your ankle and then get a stiffer one that you can spiral. It has to be clockwise though, but it needs to be pliable enough for you to be able to make the spiral in a clockwise fashion. And then long enough to stick down in the ground about a foot or so, to where you can really get it grounded. And I would even say go as far as pouring some water at the base of where, you're grounding it in the ground. Because again, you're working with the elements, if earth is the ground, and then the water is the other element that is also electrical and magnetic. People don't know this, but you can just prove it to yourself. When you make two little drops of water, what do? They come back together, and form into one. So they're magnetic. But then you have the fire. Fire is also the ether. Fire is an ethereal kind of element. And I'm still trying to learn more about fire. But then you have air, which is the breath. So all of those elements are playing. They're at play at that point through the coil that is attached to you. So my mind is like trying to piece all of the puzzle together with that. But it's kind of scientific and interesting. Again, alchemy of frequencies. Oh, John, there was one question I wanted to ask you too. What sign are you? What elemental do you have in your form? Do you know what sun sign you have in the zodiac?
Taurus.
Taurus. Is that an earth?
It's an earth one. It's an earth sign.
There you go. There's why you can ground.
And then I also have Sagittarius.
Uh-huh.
And that is a fire sign.
Fire, yeah. So that's why I am learning the zodiac and astrology and stuff. And I'm starting to get that the elements that we contain based on, when we're born and all that. I'm air. But I find that for my health, fire helps me, which air feeds fire, and fire, all of that. This is what I'm learning about the elements inside of us, and then our birth sign and how that relates to all the elements inside of us, and why certain things can be. Maybe I can work with the clouds more than you can because I'm an air sign. I don't know, but it would be interesting because if we could share notes, like go out and experiment and you see what you can do with certain things, which ones you're better at. And it might not just be the clouds, it might be something else. Maybe if you're a fire sign, maybe you can increase fire if you start a fire, if you have like a fireplace, or, just see what kind of elemental forces you're really good at. And the manipulation of things. So when I think back on the last Airbender movie, I'm like, this is all based in truth. When they had the 4 tribes based on the elements, I'm like, the water and the fire, air. I was like, yeah, but air can affect them all. It's interesting. There's very, very deep stuff to kind of ponder. Anyway, it's been 3 hours, guys. I don't want to keep y'all up all night. I'm sorry. You know, I just
9 hours.
this and I'm like, wow, you know, I can talk for hours, but I don't want to waste your time and I don't want to hold you back. It's just more stuff for you guys to think about too.
I think it was interesting. It was very informative. Thank you.
Well, I'm just happy to share because this is how we're going to change the world. I'm all in, guys, all in. It's been a good one.
Yeah, thank you for letting me meet all these nice people.
Oh, of course. You know, we need more of this. And you guys, I encourage you guys too. You know, I don't have to be the connecting point. If you guys want to share with each other or whatever you feel guided to do, the more we can connect, you know, in this kind of manner and share knowledge and express ourselves, hey, I think it's the greatest thing we can be doing right now. I just want to express that we can't do anything about what we hear in the news on any level, but what we can do is what we've discussed tonight.
Mhm.
And that's what matters, is to actually go out and be the change in positive ways, even if it is in these experimental ways. With the knowledge that we're gaining, we can be the ground troops and start to take action to better our world. And that's what's important. And that's what we need to focus on.
Yeah, but it's just a shame. It's just.
Well, it is what it is, but it's for our
Yeah, it is what it is.
This is our spirits having this physical experience and experiencing the adversity so that we can know how much light we can put out. That's all this is. You know, it's experiential. And when we take the knowledge to the other side, it doesn't matter. And when the bad people die, it doesn't matter. They don't get reprimanded for their actions because they played the part of the bad guy. It's just a spirit. And they're like, hey, you know, we got to play the bad guy. Okay, cool. I'm going to be the bad guy this time. Okay, let's go. And we're in this construct and we're playing these games. And it seems like it's real, but it's a hologram. So what are we really getting upset about? We should just be joyous and follow on, you know, keep calm and carry on, that whole saying.
But I know that, but you know, I mean, in the process of, I guess it's because, you know, people have their own lessons to learn.
Mhm.
You know, especially with children, you know, I've seen a lot of people have bad experiences as a child and never got over the trauma ever.
Yep.
You know, and it took away their not spirit, but it took away their strength.
Mhm.
You know, for someone to overcome a childhood of abuse, that person has to be very strong. But there's a lot of people out there that aren't, and they hold that hurt their whole lives. You know, and that's what I don't understand. I don't understand why people have to experience that to learn a lesson. That's disgusting.
It is. It's an abomination. But, you know, for soul growth, there's some reason. Because on the other side of things, none of this matters.
I've heard that.
Yeah, when you're just a spirit, none of this matters. And you just become pure love and light. That's it. That's all there's really in existence. Because even evil and anger and all this other stuff is a part of love. But most people can't see it that way because they're too immersed in a physical experience. They think that this is all there is. And it doesn't make any sense until you start really delving into what this existence is about.
The universe is a battery. It's positive and negative. That's how it runs. The positive can't exist without the negative.
Yeah.
It's all of the light, unfortunately.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I can wrap my head around it. I just can't wrap my head around it, if you understand that. You know, I mean, I get it. Like when, you know, we're spirit. I get it. You know, when we go to our next grace adventure, that's what I call it anyway. You know, your mind expands and you understand all of this. But while people are here, they don't. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
And all that hurt and all that fear, and that's what the reptilians, and that's what the other negative, not negative, should I call it negative entities?
Yeah, you can.
Okay, that's what they're feeding off of us.
Yeah, the loosh.
Feeding off of the fear.
The loosh.
Yeah. So I mean, if I don't know, I mean, I understand it, but I can't explain it. It's just it irks me. I want to wake up more people. Because
Yeah.
the more people that are awake and the more people that understand what actually is going on in this world, the better it would come.
It would be faster. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Move faster. You know, and that way, oh, you know, I mean, you hear about these kids and how many kids in this world are going missing every year, and people don't realize it. You know, they'll hear this story or that story, but they don't know hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of thousands of kids are missing. They're just gone.
Most people don't want to even look into that, you know. They don't want to know anything about the human trafficking. They're like, "Oh, I don't want to, I don't want to know about that." I'm like, "Wow, really?"
Yeah. I mean, I'm sorry. I know this is like a downer.
No,
You know,
I mean, it's just stuff. It's all knowledge. But anyway, yeah.
There
I
are
don't
no
think
bad
about-
experiences, only good ones. I mean, there are no bad experiences, only the ones you need for your soul to progress.
Mhm.
That's it.
okay, so my question is this: why would my soul want to pick that?
Because it learns. It learns. You're here to learn, and your soul keeps that knowledge.
But doesn't your soul also keep that hurt?
No, you have to
Or is that the
alchemize it.
ego?
You have to alchemize it into love. Everything is actually love, so you got to turn the pain into love. I learned that a very hard lesson one night when I was very upset about something I couldn't fix, and I got this download. I got up in the middle of the night and wrote a paper on love. I've never done anything like that in my life, and it was amazing. So out of a tragedy, I found love.
Wow. Okay, like would it be something similar to doing a ritual of letting go? What do you think, Ellen?
And it's not really a ritual. You have to just find it inside you because you're storing any kind of pain inside your body, inside your physical form. When you experience traumas and pain and doubt and fears, lower states of, frequencies, you're storing that in your cellular structure, in your physical body.
Mm-hmm.
And that is where you have to figure out that pain, where it came from, what's the origin. And then, because you've manifested it into your physical body. And you have to learn how to release it, and you release it through love. I try to focus on different things that happen to me. And I'm like, okay, why am I experiencing this? Why do I experience when my car has an issue or something? Like, okay, let me go back. Let me think about my actions that may have been disharmonic, that may have manifested this, thing that's happening to me. It's the same thing with your body. You think about, okay, what did I do? Am I like with my asthma, for example? I'm like, okay, if I created this asthma in an adult form, what is it that I was not doing at the time that it was starting? And I was not speaking my truth, which was being miserable in my marriage, which was not standing in my countenance and saying, we need to be done with this. We need to go do 2 different ways, because I'm just going along to get along instead of saying what is going on inside of me.
But how did you go back to get to the answer that it's because you weren't speaking your truth? How did you do that?
Think about where the pain is in your body. If it's in your feet, you're not walking your path. If it's, in your arms, maybe there's something that you're not doing, that pertains to hands and arms and stuff. If it's in your lungs, it's your breathing, obviously it's breathing in love and joy, or you're not expressing love and joy, and it's affecting your elemental, which I'm air sign. There's a connecting, you got to figure out, and you will, because your inner knowing will go this. Once you start presenting all of these different connections, possible connections, you got to think in terms of action and where it is in the body part. If it's in your head, then maybe, you're not imaginative enough, like if you're having headaches a lot, or you got to find that correlation. But then you can also, go look and study astrotheology, and you'll start gathering, these things where they teach you mudras and asanas, which are mudras are hand positions with different, you do like different points where you're touching your fingers to different points with your hands, and you're making symbols. Asanas are different positions with your body, like in yoga, when you're doing these different poses, those are asanas. You're making sigils with your body with all of this stuff. But it's also reflexology, which is pressure points and stuff like acupuncture. All of this stuff is all connections. And when you learn things about reflexology, which is the feet, and the points of the body that has a reference, like palmistry, where you can like point to different parts of the hand, and then it correlates to other parts of the body, or future, past, present, and all this other stuff. That's where you can start to figure this out. So maybe you can study palmistry, maybe you can study reflexology, start learning these different areas that relate to body parts, and then start thinking in terms of what the body part is used for. Kidneys and colon and bladder, all this stuff is for releasing toxic like physical earth element toxins and stuff. And if you're got some sort of internal problems with these, there's something that's making it toxic, and you got to think about that. Okay, is it a memory thing? Because your body holds memory in all of the different cells. Now, what they said in Dolores Cannon's work for past life, they actually have the left side. It affects the left side. But what I can show you is this other diagram that I found. Very interesting diagram of the body correlating to different issues and things. I got to figure out where I put it, because I just took the photo and I was like, wow, look at that. I was like, it actually has everything. And maybe I'll just send it to you if I can't find it right away. I'll have to find it and send it to you. I'm going to be talking about it in the class, because it will reference a lot of different points about Kabbalah and, body parts. And it's really interesting how all of this stuff is connected. That's what I'm trying to express, is like everything, absolutely everything is being proven as we speak. Yeah, I don't know where it is. I'm looking, but it's going to take some time. I had it up on my computer, but I closed the screen. All right, guys, we gotta go. You know, it's after 10. We've been here for a long time. And man, this has been great. This is awesome. And we need to do this more often, just having even just a powwow. But thanks. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks.
Thanks.
They said goodbye in the chat. We'll just say goodbye right now.
Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Everybody,
Love
keep
y'all.
it.
Love y'all. Bye.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.